back. This video is for you if you've ever looked at someone and felt a strange sense of familiarity, like something in them mirrored something in you, but you couldn't quite name it. Or maybe you've had a moment where life felt chaotic or fragmented, too fragmented to make any kind of spiritual sense, let alone logical sense, like you were just playing roles, going through motions, not sure what was real anymore. If you've ever felt anything like that, then firstly, you're not alone. Welcome. And what if I told you that this very feeling that you've been experiencing is actually a clue, a sacred breadcrumb, if you will, one that Tantra points to as a gateway back to truth. This week in our collective, hi, David, William, Pierce. Thirsty. We've been studying Tantra Illuminated, Chapter 13, and the nature of reflection and recognition, vimarsha and pratabhijna. And what I'm going to share with you might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you. So, let's play. In Non-Dual Śaiva Tantric tradition, it's said that everything that exists is a manifestation of the one light. Not metaphorically, but literally. That means you, me, everyone that you meet, we meet, every sound you hear, every moment of stillness or chaos is actually an expression of the one divine consciousness. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. What makes sentient beings like us so special is our capacity to turn that light back on itself. This is called vimarsha, often translated as self-reflection or self-recognition. It's the power of consciousness to recognize itself, through you. Think of it like this. The universe can only know itself by splitting off just enough to look back at itself through our eyes, through our own experience. And when we do this, when we truly see, we collapse the illusion of separateness. Every being you encounter is an opportunity to recognize yourself in them, and them in you. Not just as a poetic idea, but as a literal energetic truth. It's the divine recognizing the divine, pratabhijna. This realization is the soft but seismic shift from the small self, the I, made of thoughts, roles, conditioning, to the expansion back into fullness, purnata, that unshakable sense of being at home in everything, because everything is home. And here's the wild thing. Your perception of yourself as somehow separate from the whole is ignorance. It's a forgetting. But that ignorance, that forgetting isn't wrong. It's part of the play. Tantra teaches that the universe, in order to see itself, must temporarily forget itself. Just enough to create the illusion of me and you, and that's how the divine game, or krida, works. The game doesn't end until we turn inward and reflect, and in doing so reintegrate with the whole that we never actually left. For me, this teaching has hit in a very quiet, unexpected way. There was a moment in my relationship this week where I felt misunderstood in a conversation, unheard, unappreciated. My usual instinct, my habit in the past, especially when tired, would be to pull away as a archetypal avoidant, create space, to make that other person, in doing so, consider themselves to be wrong in some way, and to reside in my sense of difference, my sense of separation. But something softened, and in that pause, I had the echo of this week's teaching. this too is me. The person in front of me wasn't the enemy. They were the mirror. And just like that, the tension began to shift. And that's not to say it was easy, but it was liberating. It invited a return to joy, to bliss, to peace, to love. And that's the power of recognition. It frees us from the need to defend our separate self and invites us back into being part of something sacred, a relaxation, a return. Tantra calls creation a divine play. Not because it's frivolous, but because at the heart of all things is joy and love. For God so loved herself, she gave form to every aspect of her being. It's a quote from Tantra Illuminated. And that includes your joy, your confusion, your sadness, your triumphs, even grief. And I've lived that more than once. To find joy in grief is not an easy thing to do, but it is possible because it's all part of the expression. Nothing is excluded. All of it is God. When you begin to see every moment as a reflection of divine play, not a test, not a punishment, not a glitch, just love expressing itself in a myriad of ways, you start relating to your life with more curiosity, tenderness, and reverence. And that can change everything. So, if this teaching has spoken to you, has awoken something inside of you, if you felt yourself soften or stir or simply breathe a little easier, then I want to invite you deeper into this journey. There is a quiz linked in the description. I don't know which direction that is. Somewhere in the void, there is a quiz in the description that will help you ground this teaching. And if you want the answers, simply submit your email address and they'll be sent to you. It's a gentle, accessible way to start integrating these ideas into your everyday life, to invite a sense of understanding of the wildly confusing experience that is being human. If you're looking for community on that journey, maybe you have explored religion and you felt that there's just something that doesn't align for you in that. This is a safe space to explore what it means to be a human being, to understand these classical teachings that were based on the human experience so that you can understand that what you're going through, someone else has lived. They might not have lived your circumstances, but they've lived that sensation, that somatic experience. And there's understanding and acceptance in knowing that it's not just you, that all of us at some point have that sense of not being enough. And that when we can come together as community, we can create a shift around that. Have some spiritual companionship in a language that resonates with your lived experience. If that feels aligned for you, then join the Aligned Living family. We're building a space for conscious, curious beings who are ready to explore truth, intimacy, and embodiment in life together. Because this path is not just about learning, it's about remembering. And remembering is always easier when we do it together. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you for listening, for turning your light back on itself. And I look forward to seeing you in the next transmission. Salut.